to me by my Father's hand. All my days I will sing in praise of your forest waters, your shining sand. When morning breaks the heaven on high, I lift my heavy load to the sky. Sun comes down with a burning glow that mingles my sweat with the earth below. Oh, island in the sun, built to me by my Father's hand. All my days I will sing in praise of your forest waters, your shining sand. I see woman on bended knee, cutting cane for her family. I see man at the waterside, casting nets at the surging tide.
Well, hello friends.
Oh, island in the sun,
Monty Alexander is sitting here
will to me
looking
by
at the
my
camera
Father's hand.
and imagining there are
All
nice
my
folks on the other
days I
side.
will sing
Maybe one or two of those other kind
of
too,
your
okay?
forest waters, your shining
We
sand.
slowly turn down this little music. And by the way, this is a song called Island in the Sun. And that represents to me this beautiful place I come from. An island in the sun, occasionally a hurricane, yes, and that's Jamaica. The big island where was a part once of the British West Indies, where the British were there holding forth with their influence and a lot of things that I learned about British culture and so on and so forth. But Jamaica, that place that had such a strong connection to Africa and all these blends that I experienced as a kid growing up. And something wonderful happened for me at my very early age of, I don't know, 3 years old, when I loved the idea of making sounds. You have to be careful when you say sounds, because Jamaicans say sounds. People say, what was that you just said? Sounds? I said, no, sounds. So these sounds are very close to my heart, yes, and I recorded that song myself, playing the piano and vocalizing. Yes, I'm not a singer, but I sang, and it's a remembrance of one of our favorite artists, the great Mr. Harry Belafonte, who sang that on a recording in 1956, and broke records. He outsold the most popular artist that just before him, a guy named Elvis Presley. Yes, Harry Belafonte's Island in the Sun, an album called Calypso, was the biggest sales success, you know. So I fell in love with music. These people that sang those beautiful melodies that come from the American songbook. And I heard at first, I think I've said some of this before, because it's a constant remembrance of a good time for me. I would go to the movies, the cinema, as we say in Jamaica, pictures, gone to pictures every Saturday matinee, and I would see the cowboys on the screen. I said, what cowboys? This guy with cows? But it was, no, it was more than that. It was a whole Hollywood mythological series of stories about these men who roamed the West. They carried a gun just to, protect themselves from bad people and so on and so forth. So the cowboys were a tradition. And that's when I heard those innocent songs with 3 chords, you know, Home on the Range. Home on the Range. And lots of songs like that talk about nature, but also the local Jamaican calypso music, when you would hear the songs like Island in the Sun. But then I heard the standards, the people that really gave me a shaping for the love of this music we call jazz, but it's just music in general. And the people that gave that to me, among others, were Bing Crosby, and then the great, my number one favorite, Nat King Cole, the favorite of so many people because Nat recorded songs by all the great composers, whether it be Jerome Kern or George Gershwin or Cole Porter, but he also recorded songs that were light-hearted, country western, rambling rose, da dee da, these kinds of songs. So I grew up with a beautiful diet of all kinds of musical experiences. It's like the fruits on the trees in Jamaica. You got the mangoes, you got the tamarinds, you got the oranges, you got the breadfruit, you got the ackee, you got the chocho, you got the tamarind, name it. All kinds of species, beautiful variety. And that's how I was exposed to music. Now, by the way, I got up today and I said, you know, I'm going to put on a tie. And I thought about things that happened more recently for me, such as playing at this marvelous festival, music festival in Switzerland. It's been going on for 50 years or more, I think. And it's in Montreux, where I played the first time in 1976 and had quite a rousing experience and an album I made with two outstanding musicians, John Clayton and Jeff Hamilton. And this tie, a colorful tie, was given to me by the organizer and the guy who conceived the whole Montreux Festival. He was a very gracious host, and he knew how to make people happy to experience the hospitality, a nice time, concert setting that the artist would be comfortable. And he had all the greats at the time. And starting in the late 60s, people like Ella Fitzgerald performed there. Well, in 76, Monty Alexander, they invited me. And then I started going there over the years. I would say almost 24 times I've been to Montreux. And I was all set to go there this summer. And needless to say, nature took over. The realities of the scourge of the COVID-19. So all these festivals were put off. People like myself are put in a kind of a, what you call, holding pattern. We got to do some thumb twiddling while we wait. So wait is an exercise that is almost an art form. And somehow I was convinced, you know, it'd be nice if you talk to folks, like when you're in the nightclub or in the concert hall, you meet people and you share a thought or two. Of course, the emphasis is on the playing, which I love to do. Anyhow, I woke up this morning, one of those mornings when, you know, life takes over and this and that gets in your mind and you start thinking all kind of negative. And I remember saying to myself, I don't know how I'm going to talk to the beautiful people today, but I feel a kind of obligation to bring my positive outlook on things. And I don't mean positive that's so natural. You got to work at it. I came up with a word that when you have an attitude, instead of the attitude of where you're on the losing end, I turned that word into gratitude. Attitude, gratitude. And I actualize that. Next thing you know, I see the silver lining up in the sky. I start to see the donut, not the hole. I start to see the smile rather than the smirk. I start to see the goodness in humanity as well as the other kind. We've got a lot of that going around, right? So, challenging time that it is. And that's why I call this reminiscing in rhythm, because rhythm is the heartbeat. And rhythm is the flowers coming back from being a little seed, and it grows into the plant, and then it's a blossom flower, and then finally it fades back into the weed, and then into nothing. So, anyhow, enough said. So I am also known as Monty's Big Mouth on every Saturday at 4 o'clock on the YouTube and Facebook. Stuff I hardly know about. But I'm learning because my number one friend, I call Katerina my co-pilot, my best everything. And she has encouraged me today to continue talking, because sometimes I said, wait a minute, what am I going to tell these nice people? I can't be telling them negative and dark. So today I rose. In fact, right now I'm rising, because a part of me wants to tell you this and that, and I don't like this and that. But no, I choose to not lose without making any excuse. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to share a few things with you. First of all, a little piano playing. Why not? I'm a piano player, right? I've made over 75 albums. I don't know how come. There were gifts along the way when people had said, Monty, we want you to record for our little label. And I said, yep, how much you going to pay me? Terrible question, but guess that's how I operated, not planning too far ahead. And I learned, I was able to pick out melodies, whatever those songs were, you know. So I'm gonna give you a song now that I heard. It's called the setup. To the ends of the earth, I'll follow my star. To the ends of the earth, just to be where you are. No matter where you roam, I'll never be far behind. Who cares where the path may wind, as long as I find you. Though the melody died, the song lingers on, and 1,000 goodbyes won't convince me you're gone. I'll follow you, my love, you'll never be free. To the ends of the earth, till you've given your love to me. I'll follow you, my love, you'll never be free. To the ends of the earth, till you've given your love to me. Yeah. You gotta be nuts. So that was called Monty just making up stuff because, folks, if I play something well and they say play it again, I can't remember it. So that was a first time version on this beloved date called July, what's today's date? The 25th. Yes, yeah. Wow, time's marching on. So that was call it a crazy person's version of To the Ends of the Earth, a song I heard as a kid, among all the many other songs I heard other artists perform. So, I'm hearing my mind sharing these anecdotes and these incidents over the years, some of them amusing, some of them problematic, some of them forget about it, some of them like so amazing, some of them like, how did I come this far? You know, this guy who didn't go to music school. I never went to music school. I had a piano teacher, bless her heart, she used to say, you've got to hold your hands like this, and you've got to this, and you've got to that, and she'd hit me with the ruler on my knuckles. I didn't hurt a lot, but enough for me to say, you know what, I don't like this. And I stopped going to the piano lessons, and the rest of the time, I would go watch my older heroes, these men who had a story to tell. I wasn't interested in a school book and the teacher saying this, that, no, and no. I was around the real people telling stories. So I have this memory bank that seems to be working quite well. I'm just a young guy. I turned 76 June the 6th, just now. So, young guy, right? And I love to play. Little challenge came to me a few years ago that made me think I'd never play piano again. And every time I play, I have to rise, just like I did today. Rise above all that. I can't. Because a lot of us get up some days and we say, I can't, I don't want to, I shouldn't. But there's a little sparkling light in there somewhere that says, "Yeah, don't go there. Bring it up, rise above, and share something nice," which is what happened to me today. So this is the 17th episode of Reminiscing in Rhythm, or Reminiscing in the Rhythm, as I tell you about this, that, the other. I remember a funny story. There was this wonderful musician who played with me the percussion, the congas and the bongas. However, we knew he was not your average percussion bongo player. He was a phenomenal creative artist whose hands, the fastest hands you've ever seen. His name is Robert Thomas Jr. We call him Bobby T. And Bobby, I met him in Miami, Florida, back in the late 70s, late 70s. So we've been good friends for a long time. And he was a good friend with the Floridians at the time that were in the music, and the one that was getting more exposure than anyone else was this incredible artist, Jaco Pastorius. So Jacko and Bobby were like that. Jacko ended up playing with Joe Zawinul's group called Weather Report, right? So
And Bobby.
and Monty, right? So he played with Monty Alexander, he played with Weather Report, and we stayed in touch. And I called my mother on the phone. I was in Arizona somewhere playing in a club. And I said, "Any good news today, Mom? Anything you want to tell me?" She said, "Yes, I got a call from Bobby." I said, "Oh, yes." And he told me he's going up to Connecticut if I was trying to reach him. And I said, "Oh, yeah." And yes, and he's going to be doing meteorology with the TV station, meteorology. That's the whole issue of weather, right? So she's telling me, "Yes, it's wonderful. He wants you to know that he's going to be doing this thing on television and he'll be the weatherman." Okay, so that's all I knew, right? A few days later, I'm talking to this other friend of ours, Othello Molyneux, incredible steel pan player from Trinidad. And he said, "Oh, by the way, did you hear that good news?" I said, "What good news?" He said, "Bobby, what?" He says he just got the job with Weather Report. So, of course, that was a big laugh for us because my mother didn't know a thing about this jazz world and all this stuff that's going on. And even though this was back in the mid 70s, which was quite a while ago, she didn't know it then. And she's gone ahead now, so she certainly don't know it now, even though where she is, she knows everything, right? So that's a little anecdote. Then my mind just went on to a little bad incident where I almost got into a fight. Yeah, I'm a peaceable guy. I don't want to have a fight. But I almost had a fight with a certain famous musician who played the most beautiful music, but boy, he could get cranky. Stan gets, we used to say, Stan gets what Stan wants. And on this particular day, I met Stan and he kind of talked to me in a way that I didn't like very much. And I challenged the man and it's a long story, but along the way I've only had peaceful interactions with everybody in music. People who were supposed to be ornery, nope, we had a beautiful relationship. And Stan was one of those people. He ended up calling me his buddy and all that, but he didn't like that I'd put the microphone on the stage in that certain position. It should have been over there. We were sharing the bill at the half note in Midtown Manhattan. And I was on the stage making sure the mic was there, the piano bench was here, this was there. And he came walking in, sauntering, and he said, and he looked on the stage and he saw me. And he must have thought I was the workman or the sound man. And he said, "Hey, you." I said, "Huh?" He said, "I don't like that mic there. Put it over there and put the thing there and don't put that there." And I said, and I'm looking at him and I'm going, and he starts to walk away. And I said, "Hey." And he turns around. "Yes?" I said, "If you don't like that mic there, you come and move it yourself." And he turned around and his face got red. Let me tell you, he was ready to get up on the stage with this, and I was ready to whatever. It didn't come to that because the club owner came along and said, Oh, guys, this we gotta have fun and play music this week, and we're all loving brothers, blah blah blah. And even though Stan was several years older than myself, I didn't like that anybody would speak to me in that tone. And he heard us play that night. I had Bobby Durham with me, Eugene Wright, and we were just swinging us, burning us trio in town. Let me tell you. And he heard this music, and he came over to me at the bar, and he said, "Hey man, I didn't know. Excuse me for talking to you like that. I didn't know you were the musician. Not only that, but that you could play like that." And I said to him, I said, sir, don't matter who I was, you don't talk to people like that. So this is the other side of what we have to be. We gotta be choose the good things, but we also gotta stand up when there's disrespect. Blah blah blah. Monty, there you go. I'm reminiscing like crazy today, folks. Forgive me. And you know, we came up with a little technique here. It's this thing about uh, the albums I've made.
Hey, they're not seeing your head. Okay.
I've made so many albums over the years, and Katerina, co-pilot, we came up with this thing last week where we just picked one at random. We didn't look. We picked it out, or she on a piece of paper, and she would say, "Now tell me the story of when you made that album, what songs, who was on the record with you," and I don't think you're going to be.
We have a box with the titles of the album in there. There's 75. There should be 73 because you talked about two of them last week.
Okay.
But you're gonna pick two or one and then talk about it.
I'm gonna pick two or one, but can we get the album and look at the cover and the whole
Hopefully
thing?
you have. So you picked one.
But why don't you pick one and then I'll see if I can find it here.
Well, no.
No.
Okay, you picked.
What's
You
that?
picked. Ooh, Full Steam Ahead. Is
Oh boy, that's Full Steam Ahead. That's me and no one else but Ray Brown, the rockinest, swingingest bass player that
Let's see if
ever
I can
came.
find, yeah.
And drummer was Frank Gant. Oh man, Frank Gant be swinging like forget it. So that was a wonderful album. Full Steam Ahead. This is an idea. It's good idea. It's a good idea when it works because Katerina went to find the album. I don't think she's gonna find it so easily. But why don't you just pick two? Any two?
I'm not gonna find it.
I told you.
But you can tell me all about Full Steam Ahead. Who was on the date?
But no. In the meantime, while I talk about that, why don't you just grab one or two? Just
Okay,
any
so
two.
I grab by.
Yeah,
Okay.
you grab. In the other
So
room.
forget the box.
I keep the box here. I like this box. All the work you did, cutting things. No, if you
Yeah.
can get that album off of that
Okay.
shelf.
The
No.
Full Steam Ahead.
Yeah, but anyone.
Oh, okay. I'll
Anyone.
just pick two.
Got it. Folks, that wasn't easy. So in the meantime, what do I do? Shall I play a song? I'll play a song. I'm going to play a song I like very much. It's it's one of my songs. It's called Sweet Lady. It was recorded by none other than the great Oscar Peterson. He heard me playing it and he said, "What's that song?" I said, "That's a tune I wrote, Oscar. It's called Sweet Lady." Now, a little while later, he did record it, but instead he called it Pretty Lady. And I said, "Oscar, that's great. I'm so honored that you recorded my song." He said, "But that's not really the title. The real title is not Pretty Lady, it's Sweet Lady." He looked at me like a stern uncle. He said, "You told me it was Pretty Lady." I said, "Oscar," I said, "it was Sweet Lady." And okay, he recorded Sweet Lady, made a mistake and called it Pretty Lady by Monty Alexander. Sweet Lady, ladies and gentlemen. And Katarina just returned with a couple of albums that she picked out at random. This is one of the Ice Cream covered records where Herb Ellis, the great guitar player, Ray Brown, and myself, and this group that was called Triple Treat. There it is. Ice Cream. People like this record because of the ice cream on the cover. And then they heard the music and I think they liked it also for that. So, I'll hand you, we play Line with a Groove, one of Ray's compositions, swinging tune, and we recorded Nat King Cole's Straighten Up and Fly Right. That's Straighten Up and Fly Right. Then we recorded Might As Well Be Spring and Smile, Though Your Heart Is Aching, right? Remember April, Polka Dots and Moonbeams. So this was a lovely recording live at this club in Los Angeles in Santa Monica called The Loa. Ray Brown was a part owner of that. So,
but why a violin player?
oh, we had this guest, that fantastic violin player by the name of John Frigo. And John was really originally a bassist. And he and Herb Ellis, and a pianist by the name of Lou Carter, they had been in the Jimmy Dorsey Orchestra, the brother of Tommy Dorsey, and they were part of that rhythm section, and they broke away and formed a combo. And among the songs they composed, one of those guys composed a song called Detour Ahead, a jazz classic. I think Billie Holiday recorded it, among others. And we met Johnny in Chicago, and he joined us, sat in for a few songs, and it was just like incredible, joyful time. And Johnny started playing the violin and performing all over the place, including he was a favorite on the Tonight Show. Johnny Carson thought the world of Johnny Frigo, and he was a funny guy.
But he played the bass first?
He played the bass and then he played the violin.
You was tired of carrying the bass around?
Yeah, that too. But in his musical history before that, among the people he worked with, believe it or not, he played with funny man, comedian, one of the greatest characters of all time, Chico Marx, who played piano, and he used to do tricky things with the piano and entertain the kids. If anybody ever saw the Marx Brothers, Chico, they're all my favorites, each one of them. Harpo with the harp, who didn't say a word, and Chico, who played piano, and the children would come around while he did all kind of fun. He'd shoot the note with like it was a gun, you know. So you laughed with Chico, and that is why Johnny Frigo played the violin.
And where was this recorded? In LA?
That was in LA in the 80s, the mid 80s.
It was 1988.
Oh,
anything memorable from the session to share?
Let's see. I don't know.
Carl Jefferson was produced.
Yeah, that's on the Concord label. It's this visionary, this man who loved his music, straight ahead jazz, and
Chris Long produced.
Yeah,
Any memory?
not
No.
so much remembering, but
So much.
Carl was a excellent music producer, and that was a good event. People loved it. It's live, and the music is rocking. Yep.
All right. Well, I have another one I chose.
Oh boy, oh boy.
I love
This
that
is my second album in 1965. It's called
they want to see this record sleeve again. Hold on.
Record Sleeve Again.
Can you see it?
Get yourself some ice cream, folks. Yep.
Okay.
Some of these albums have been re-released on CD, but as you know, CDs also are obsolete, obscure. You don't find them anymore, you know. And in fact, I have loads and loads of LPs and CDs that are sitting there. Nobody cares because most everything is on digital, on the internet now, right? Now this is the second album, and it was a photograph taken by my friend, who I wish him well right now. Things are not in the health department as wonderful as we hoped, from Les McCann. Les introduced me to the man who headed up this company called World Pacific Jazz. This is on the Pacific Jazz label, and it's called Spunky, because I guess I look like the spunky guy. I was the spunky guy on the piano, and that's the album cover. And people called me, "Hey, Spunky!" You know, it stuck with me. And
where were you running?
I was running away from somebody, I don't know.
From Sweet Lady?
No. Well, of course, Sweet Lady, she wasn't sweet very long, you know, she became unsweet. you know. So that's what happened. But this was and people started calling me funny names. I remember some guys started calling me Spooky. I said, what's that? You know, I don't know if I like that. But yes, all the funny names that come, and Spunky, my second album of maybe '76, on and on. And by the way, I should tell you about the most recent one, which was a triumph because most times when I was recording, I just sit at the piano and roll them off and knew these songs and we start swinging and I kept going like that. But then I thought about this idea where I wanted to introduce Thelonious Monk. In my dream, that Thelonious Monk was in Jamaica and he was making music with Jamaicans, with the rhythms of Jamaica, the rocksteady and the reggae and the ska and all the different patterns, and of course the Rastafari and Naya Bingi. And this is the album. We have the vinyl. It is available, and Katerina has done a marvelous job. It's on the website, montyalexander.com, if people want to pick this up.
And it actually opens.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful picture.
Oh, yeah?
And that's a bird.
The bird is in the cloud.
Yeah.
How about that?
It looked like a pixelation issue on
Who's
the
this,
CD.
who's this guy here with gray hair?
Some guy with sunglasses on.
Okay. All right.
So-
So there you have it. Warwicker Hill, the hill right next to my house where the Rastafarians would go praise God. Yes, it was a serious time. And I heard that music and that rhythm from I was very young. And it got down in my bones and it never left me. And in fact, no doubt about it, those rhythms and energies and sensitivities, they're all a very big part of the American rap and hip hop movement. You know, the best of it, I like to say. You know, a lot of the artists are Jamaican heritage. Mr. Big, Tupac Shakur. A lot of these guys had Jamaican and West Indian heritage. All that rhythm came from their families, you know. So there you have it. Those are me and my records. And I told you a couple of less than pleasant things. And I talked about the need to rise above the negative and put on a happy face. And
Look, on Spunk you play I'm an Old Cow Hand.
yeah, I was always thinking about the Western things, you know. And so I'm here at the piano. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this delightful lady, Katerina, is one of my favorite vocalists. And if she'll do me the honor of doing a song now, I would love to invite her to do a song.
Okay.
And you are here. And by the way, today, ladies and gentlemen, as I told you, I rose above the negative. And I think this program is a little less organized than they usually are. I'm sort of just letting it out, you know. I can put on a tie. A tie.
I love that.
But that's what Claude Knob's tie. He gave it to me. And Claude was one of a kind. He created that whole event. And I'll never forget it. They're still going. And thousands of people show up for that event from all over the world to enjoy not just what's called jazz, what jazz is today, which is a whole different thing than what it was back a few years back. There's a different energy, a different thing. People weren't scholastic or studied it in school. These people played it because it was in the air, it was among each other, it was just part of life. You know, it was like breakfast, you know, part of life to play music and share it with each other. And I was there during those times. So now, Miss Cat,
Yes.
would you honor us?
Yes.
I think you said this song.
We said, yeah, I loved it. I just learned it. A blossom fell from off a tree. It settled softly on the lips. You turned to me. The gypsy said, blossom fell and touched two lips that lie.
Blossoms.
I love this song.
Me too.
Howard Barnes, Harold Cornelius, and Dominic John.
Anybody with that name? Awesome.
It's three people.
I love that song. And of course, it was none other than our beloved Nat King Cole, Nathaniel Adams Cole. He was from Montgomery, Alabama, and he came to Chicago with the family. His father was a preacher, and the Reverend Coles was a strict disciplinarian, but with love. And he would tell the congregation, among other things, that they needed to do the right thing. And he used to make a phrase that Nat King Cole heard those words and wrote a little song, and it was called "Straighten Up and Fly Right." A buzzard took a monkey for a ride in the air, and that was a big hit. And in fact, Nat wasn't thinking business like, and he sold the song for a mere $50 to Irving Mills, who also, you saw Irving Mills' name on all the Duke Ellington songs. So obviously they had a business relationship. I don't think Mr. Mills was about music, but he was a business expert and helped to bring the message of the great Edward Kennedy Ellington to the higher levels. Publisher bar none. And he purchased that Straighten Up and Fly Right from Nat King Cole.
$50.
So Nat, who was the jazz man of the decade, he was the king. He fell into this beautiful world of melody and singing songs that touched our hearts. Me, from I was 5 years old. And by the way, I saw Nat King Cole in person at the Carib Theatre when I was a youth in Jamaica. And that was one more life-defining moment. And I saw Nat King Cole. And through the years, I recorded with his daughter, who invited me to play on her hit-selling album called Unforgettable. It's in the corner, you can see it, the platinum copy she sent to me. And I had a wonderful friendship with the recently gone ahead, we say in Jamaica, Freddie Cole, his youngest brother. Freddie was a beautiful guy and a master of song, and he knew more songs than here's in my head. Let me tell you, he knew songs that came out of...
And all the lyrics too.
He knew all the words to all the songs, and he could all day long you hear him singing some songs. I said, what's that song? And he said, oh, that's the so and so and so. I said, where's that from? And he'd tell you. So while his brother was making himself awesome to the whole world, Freddie was back there loving his music and all this other music that he sang. Shut up, Monty. Okay, next.
Nothing.
So you were going to do another song. I think you said...
Around the World?
Around the World?
Yeah.
I'll search for you?
Yeah.
You said E flat, right?
Yeah, I think... Hey, we haven't tested. Okay.
We didn't test it.
Could be wrong key. Around the world, I searched for you. I traveled on when hope was gone to keep a rendezvous. I knew somewhere, somehow, someday, you'll look at me and I will see the smile you're smiling now. It may have been in County Down or in New York, in Gay Paris, or even London town. No more would I go on around the
remember my mother would sing it.
Yeah.
She had that cigarette dangling from her lips, and she'd be clapping her hands, singing around the world. And another song she loved was this song.
Oh yeah, love that one.
Is that key good?
You sing you alone with the moonlight above. Just a passing glance, just a brief romance, and I might have gone my way empty-hearted. It was fascination, I know, and it might have ended right then at the start. Forgot the lyrics. Fascination turned to love. Thought I would remember those lyrics.
Well, nobody's perfect.
I did. It's your influence. You're making me forget lyrics.
Well, look, I remember certain things, and a lot of other things I don't remember, and that's okay.
So
So on that
45.
note, ladies and gentlemen, you know, when I was a kid, all the music I fell in love with, this, a couple of songs you heard today, To the Ends of the Earth, A Blossom Fell, Fascination. I heard Bing Crosby and I heard Nat King Cole. But I also heard something that was a big part of why Jamaica's music rose above a lot of other things. Because there was a grit, not sweet sounds, romantic only, but the grit of people coming from the challenge, from the soil, dealing with the challenges of life. And in America, that music expressed it best of all was something called blues. The people of African American heritage came to this country dealing with the misfortunes and the challenges of being forced to leave their homeland. They came over in these boats against their wishes, and they brought their pain and their woes, and they found spirituality mostly in the Christian church. So that's the beginning of what we call the Pentecostal music and the Mahalia Jackson that came out of the soul of people crying above what they were dealing with, right? So that was hope. But there was an element there where the people weren't so much concerned with rising up spiritually, but just expressing the pain. And that the best word we've come up with was this word blues. Not reds, greens, oranges, browns, blues. No, it meant something else. It meant a people crying out. This is Monty Big Mouth again, but this is really something, and I felt that in the music from an early age, and I heard the early Ray Charles. And let me tell you, talk about piano playing. You can talk about these sophisticated pianists and this incredible pianist and that other guy with the piano, blah, 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 but nobody cried in the piano notes like Ray Charles. And interestingly, his hero, and he commented on it from the beginning. Among them, there were two men. One was Nat King Cole. So there was this incredible man with the talent to mimic anything, and he would mimic Nat King Cole like nobody else. He'd do the vocal thing, and at the same time, he would sing what came from his soul. And another one that we heard in Jamaica that really affected us was from Chicago, among others, was Jimmy Reed. Now I'm gonna have a go at a song I heard. Huh?
All right, I'm saying all right. You said they're gonna have what?
Even okay. No, this is a song.
I'm gonna leave you the stage for that.
Don't leave them. This is called Honest I Do, Jimmy Reed. Don't you know that I love you? Honest I do. I'd never place stop driving me mad. You're the sweetest little woman that I ever had. I told you I loved you. Mhm. Stop driving me mad. When I woke up this morning, I never felt so bad. Honest I do. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been honestly a wonderful time hanging out with you all, and thanks for watching and listening and putting up with Monty's big mouth. Thank you very much. Until the next time, stay safe, stay strong, and stay hopeful. This too shall pass.
Any music to play for the exit music?
How about My Island in the Sun?
Again?
Sun.
Okay. Here it comes again.
This is where it all started.
All right. Bye, all.
This is my island in the sun, where my people have toiled since time begun. I may sail on many a sea, her shores will always be home to me. Oh, island in the sun, willed to me by my father's hand, all my days I will sing in praise of your forest waters, your shining sand. When morning breaks the heaven on high, I lift my heavy load to the sky. Sun comes down with a burning glow that mingles my